Welcome back to the NAL, where the competition seems to kind of, but not really, be getting much fiercer. We have Shopify going up against Cruelty. Cruelty, who is currently sitting on exactly 0 points, and SR, who is towards the top of the leaderboard, which makes this the game of the day.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, Cruelty could get on the board here, and it'll be an uphill battle. But for Shopify Rebellion, they're battling to keep in contention with Dark Zero. They want to be obviously in that top 2 spot. At the end of the day, top 6 is where you want to be. So any point that Cruelty can scrape away day by day will obviously make their argument a little bit stronger.
I think this is actually a great game for Shopify to really work on their communication in the mid to late rounds, especially going against a team like Cruelty, because you're going to be bursting a lot of chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Shopify Rebellion, so far, what do we know about them? The players have all been firing on all cylinders. I mean, when they play together as a team, that is their best asset. And this is a round against Wildcard where they do an amazing, exceptional top floor attack. If you look at everybody on the windows outside, we have white stairs completely locked off. Canadian's going to jump through that white window to go for the fight off of the fires. Wildcard has no idea that he's inside the building. And on the other side of things, you have Rexen and Ambi completely taking over all of Christmas and Cigar. So obviously, when everybody is on the same page and they go for an execute all together, the strategy that Shopify Rebellion is amongst the best between all of the teams in the league so far. Now, the issue here is once they slow down and there's not necessarily a game plan that they're going for, obviously they're waiting for Wildcard to make a mistake. They don't necessarily need to go to it for a plan. But when all the players are given the freedom to counteract and move, they're not stuck to a strat, that's where we see Shopify have some issues.
And I think it goes without say with what Troy was talking about, what we heard in their winning comms was just trust the call, trust the process. And when they do trust the process, they do trust the teamwork, that's an end result of how well SR really can look, especially when it comes into those mid to late round execute and finishes.
I mean, they have so many talented players when it comes to setting up a strat that obviously when nothing's happening, somebody is doing something that you really maybe shouldn't, but most of the time it pays off because they're so good. A big player of that proponent is Rexen. He's been the best player on Shopify Rebellion throughout the stage, especially on flex support roles, constantly getting these huge multi-kills, always being put in a position to carry his team out. And obviously it goes without saying that when Shopify Rebellion has all of their gunners firing, you have Canadian leading the charge, who are you going to look to when things go wrong or you're put into a clutch situation? Rexen. And he shows up every single time because he has no pressure of what's coming in front of him. He just has to let his dogs go hunting. And once he's in the position where he needs to clutch up or he needs to close the round out, I mean, he's got no pressure on his shoulders. He knows the job is done from there. At that point, he's put in the position to win. He just has to press mouse 1 and close it out. And that's what he's been doing.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've highlighted Rexen more than enough, but you have to keep highlighting him because he is the performer. And it was a question of, are we going to see Spoit in that highlight package? But realistically, we're seeing Rexen continuously being able to do this. But again, that is off the forefront of the rest of the roster excelling in their categories.
Yeah, and that's just such a scary roster to be going up against as well. And if anything, like Cruelty hasn't found any success even against rosters that weren't packing as much heat. So now that you're going up against Shopify, I would be a little nervous coming into this game.
I'm kind of done harping on these guys. At this point, I just need to see some sort of life from them because we haven't really seen a lot to really focus on too much. And a big thing for me, if there is something that I am going to try to, help with this team or try to give them just something to look at, they have to look at their defenses because their defenses in real time and real history throughout Siege, defense has been statistically the easier side. And for some reason, Cruelty can just not seem to find their stride, not only on defense, but also on their attack. And for me, if you need to find something to hold on to, something to boost the morale, something to get the troops all in a line, get your ducks in a row, it needs to start on the easier side here. And the real thing is they are the weakest team statistically across all the teams on their defenses. And again, that's the easiest side. So for me, if I'm Cruelty, attack the easier side. Make that to be the easiest work way so that way you can find your success there, you can find the strides of improvement, and then work that towards into your attacks. Because if you're trying to tackle both of those and can't seem to find success on either or, at at least focus on one and put it on the easier side.
Absolutely, and it's a damn shame that their defenses aren't having any success, because when we highlighted all the attacking teams in the league so far, besides the top 4, Cruelty was
They were the fifth.
So being able to find success on the harder side, which is way more disjointed, way harder to be coordinated around. Obviously, Cruelty has their own bags of issues when it comes to the attacks, but to the defenses, to not be able to do the simplest thing, that most maps force you to have to play off of each other, that is a big red flag that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, maybe there's some method to the madness when it comes to Cruelty. I guess another day for us to try and find out. Map veto is ready as well, which means, Lax, when you're looking at where you would like Cruelty to go,
I mean, it's
anywhere.
It's a situation anywhere at this point. We just got to see something from them. They got to be able to come alive here. And based off the situation and how the bans are looking, I think we're most likely going to get a big map again. Okay. I mean, we already saw how everything shaped up yesterday. Their attacks look better, but their defenses were the weak point of this. They had a good overall half on attack, but again, it's their defenses. Now you're going to be in a situation where you know the map, you know how to play it, fix the mistakes from yesterday, and especially on that defensive half, because that is the one that is crippling this team. So for me, I don't really want to, like I said, I don't want to focus too much on Cruelty here. I just think they need to give us a little something, little life from them than just, again, the same repeat after day after day after day.
I mean, I love the map pick of Lair, especially with Cruelty having it left up, just because we talked about it yesterday with Cruelty versus Orgulus going to Lair. You're not really getting a really good team on Lair. You're not able to really fine-tune your own Lair, but obviously they just played it, so they've got practice on it. So obviously they are still a contender when it comes to this map. They're going up against a great team like Shopify Rebellion on a map like Lair, so there will be a lot of takeaways, a lot of learning points, and obviously they're going to a map that is still a big unknown for Cruelty's playstyle, which will keep Shopify Rebellion guessing. As for Shopify Rebellion, it's just another day in the office for them. They just need to be able to play their game, focus on the trades, keep it simple.
But do we think that do we think that Cruelty is going to have the opportunity to at least try and stop Shopify?
I will say this. The nice thing about starting on attack is it really forces you to be in unison, forces you to communicate with one another, so that way, no matter what the first half looks like, at least going into defense, you are warmed up in terms of overall communication. And that's the biggest thing on defense, is communicating, because you know where things can happen and where things can't happen. You know when you lose a pick somewhere, where to rotate or to rotate back to.
Yeah.
So the communication should realistically be there just based off of starting an attack. But if they can't have a strong attack, and we then see on defense that they're getting picked in random locations, over-rotating, over-peaking, it's just not going to look good.
I mean, if I'm Cruelty, at the end of the day, I'm using this as a learning experience, if nothing else. Like,
Day
obviously,
4 learning experience?
they need it. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to be able to play against some of the top teams to be able to improve.
Yeah.
This is the perfect map for them to learn different play styles, obviously test one of the best teams in the league, and grow from there. I mean, we know exactly what the issues were against Orgulus yesterday. If they can at least fix it, make it a little bit better into today, I would take that as a win.
So the predictions then are going to be probably unanimous. Shopify Rebellion. Really? Could you let us know why? Can we change it to Cruelty, please? Because he literally just said it. Thank you guys so much. Let's change that to Cruelty. Because now I would really like to hear why Cruelty.
Well, I already said why I could think they could maybe find some success, and it was just for the simple fact of starting on attack where their comms have to be forced, then going into that defensive half. But by no means do I think that they are going to beat SR in any front.
What if you just jinxed it?
I mean, good. Then they get a win. They get some points.
That would be
Lights of fire
impressive.
underneath them. I just can't see it happen.
That would be impressive. I think that would obviously knock the socks off all of us when it comes to what to expect from Cruelty.
If you're wearing socks.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for, honestly. Not just from Cruelty, but all the teams at the bottom. If they can take away a win from one of the top dogs, make the league in points a little bit more closer. Obviously, Cruelty, they got the pressure on them as the weeks go on because they're sitting at 0 points. So
great reminder.
They need something.
They do need something, and this is their chance to potentially get it, because they're going to be going up against Shopify Rebellion. And we have our lovely casters, Extroika and Lynx, ready to cover the game.
Thank you very much, Ginny. And I think Ollie and I are both expecting, or ideally, a pretty clinical game from Shopify today. I think all the way back to the start of the stage, right? Where Shopify played one of the other bottom teams of the NAL, Orgulus. And what did we see, Ollie? A clinical 7-2. They weren't going for any crazy plays. They weren't ego in them, right? They would set up their executes, they'd communicate well, coordinate well. win the round pretty easy. That's what I'm hoping here today. On attack or defense, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. And hopefully, we actually will see Cruelty test Shopify a little bit.
I would like to, I'll be honest. I'm never a fan of games that are super one-sided, and I think there's always something that both teams can get out of a fixture, regardless of the end result. As we've mentioned, Shopify, one of the more storied and experienced rosters, albeit not together necessarily, but individually there is a lot of experience on that roster. And Cruelty, on the flip side, looking to try and make a bit of a name for themselves here. We do head to Lair. It's going to be the first time we're seeing Lair here tonight. And it's a little bit of a rare map for both teams. We were sort of looking and digging in through the numbers. It's a good preference map for both teams. But there's a question as to, is that a preference of they're very good at it, or just the teams that they've played don't really like playing it? And I guess that much is to sort of be decided over the course of this fixture for sure. Certainly a Rebellion, they haven't played it for a good amount of time. Last time was way back in SI, so they're going to be knocking the rust off a little bit here for this one. As we move into round number one, we've got some electrification being targeted in the bans. The Cade and the Bandit both removed. Whereas on the flip side, it is a shield no-go zone. The Monty and the Blackbeard both being taken out.
And obviously, it's a more comfortable position for Cruelty, theoretically. They played it yesterday, even though they lost it. It was a very close game of 7-5. And also, just running back the exact same defensive bans they did yesterday. Started with Bandit Cade, starting with Bandit Cade here, and understandably so. Even in the rounds they won, which they won 4 rounds of the attacking side, 3 of them came down to very, very late plants in the round. And obviously, on a map as big as Lair, it makes sense to ban the Cade and the Bandit, right? Take down that hard breach denial. You can open those walls easier. You're not going to get stuck on that. But if they were getting those plants down as late as they were yesterday, there's a very clear opening for Shopify. If you can set up a little mini game early on that they've got to spend 45 seconds to a minute figuring out, and then you just pull back, Cruelty might be left scrambling by the end to figure out something to do. And well, here, barricade gets opened up. Cruelty doing a little phantom pressure, making them think that they might be at that barricade. And it turns out Ambi was there. And he just runs outside and kills Pyrox.
He's got a little bit of support from Canadian down there on the Clash. We haven't seen much Clash tonight so far, but it is a very oppressive operator in the current meta. The ability to remotely activate the stunning effect and, of course, place that shield down as well. Can make it quite a difficult thing to deal with. However, Surf, he's going to be facing a shield of the attackers. That is going to be the Blitz. Ivan, he makes short work of him and the Toxic Babe canisters that he takes on with him.
Ambi getting active this round, though. Skimsy taken down. It was a hell of a refrag for the Blitz to find that smoke. You lose the Grim early on, you're kicking yourself, but then you get the main form of plant denial. You're feeling really good. But back in the 4v3, and Shopify will sit and wait. But Cruelty are not stalling out. They took Skybridge pressure, worked right up to the door of the site within the first minute, and now within the first minute 30, have opened up one of the key breaches and have now rotated to the opposite side. Really quite a good look so far, but when it comes to actually dealing with the obstacles in front of them, a little be desired. Ambi's third, this time with the C4, and on this very tight angle, Spoit will light up one, finish off the Thermite, and that's Diffuser now in the possession of the Azami. Matumbo on the other side, trying to relieve a little bit of pressure. Maybe divert some attention from Shopify over toward his way. And it's not worked out. Shopify have dealt with the backline threat, and now we'll look towards where all the action started at the beginning. Canadian will shock him a little bit and just continue to relay the intel to the rest of his team that the Nomad is here, and that round one has surely gone their way.
Good discipline here from Shopify. It is what we have come to expect from this roster. Despite this being a 4 versus 1, recognize there is quite a little bit of time left, and they've got great information. Somebody can't do anything without Shopify Rebellion knowing about it. And there is a slew of bullets coming his way. It was only going to be a matter of time before one connected. Massive round from Ambi. 3 kills, 2 with the MPX, 1 with the C4. Spoit playing a super hard angle as well. It's a real difficult 90 to challenge on because you're just tucked in the corner. You've got nowhere to hide. You have to win your gunfight. Just see there, the only success really. Oh, that was a beautiful second kill from Ambi.
Good third one, too.
Yeah, I mean, the C4. That was the one from Spoit. It was a brilliant shot there. Kind of as expected, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Shopify didn't have to do a whole lot of much. It was just relay information to Ambi and Ambi go kill in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It's like, what else do you really want? I mean, honestly, it's like, I don't even need that. Little, like, team ace, one for each, that'd have been fine. Victory on time, that'd have been fine, too. Ambi just going for extra credit. 3 kills on that Valkyrie. Drop the black eye cameras, and Ambi now on the Scopos. There's certainly another operator he can get active on. Put Scopos on the basement site, usually put the Scopos down below. Start off on the top floor, the middle floor early on. Teleport back if things get hairy or if you need a support on the site. No shield in play for Team Cruelty, but we will have that Ying, so it could be useful for the roam clear or for the execute. But it doesn't seem like they're going to be taking things too quickly, and I imagine Ambi will try to shoot a few drones before falling back, especially with Spoit tagging in, also along the Skybridge position.
Yeah, they're going to be quite difficult to pin down here. We've got mute jammers being placed on that basement level. Canadian on the mute. You can spread those out a little bit and give some pockets of safety. Mentioned there the Scopos that can disappear in the blink of an eye, it seems. And even with this slightly extended hold, there's going to be a little bit of difficulty in just basic droning in. Fortunately for Cruelty, they do have Bravo, which gives them a couple of extra drones to gather that information with, and of course the ability to hack things. The only thing really in this round they're going to be able to hack, of course, is going to be the Banshees, the mute jammers, and those default cameras.
I mean, we'll see a nice angle. Rexon struggling with that engagement, though. Cruelty are not wasting too much time. They are taking the control that's given to them. But by seeding this second floor, even for the moment, 2 to 3 players up there can start harrying you with shots from above. It will make pushing in quite difficult. We've seen vertical angles, especially in that wildcard M80 game, Ollie. If you let them survive, they can be a real problem, a real pain when you try to move into the site. Fatal doesn't even feel an ounce of it as a bullet immediately enters his head, and that's insta-death. Capitao gone. It'll just be the incandelas to try to open up this execute. Maybe the flashbangs and the smoke, the secondary utility in the hands of the rest. But the Vulcan canisters pop, and Cruelty left waiting once again. Skimzy able to find Spoit, so a nice little trade. There's still plenty of players on that vert. Ooh, but there's something you'll take, something you'll be very happy about. Ambi caught lacking inside, and Skimzy will take this opening as the smoke cut comes out. Cuts off anybody that can hold them. He pushes even deeper in. Mutombo getting on for 1-2. A defuse plant very likely here as it's Canadian and Rexon having to fight back. Nomad going in for the clear. Perfect timing as Canadian focused down below. Pyrox able to shoot him in the back, and Rexon with all to do and likely nothing going to get done.
Difficult spot for Rex, and he knows where the first is, but Skimzy is going to see to it that he is sent into the abyss right there. Good round from Cruelty.
Quite good,
I
actually.
think they recognized the sort of lack of utility. Think about the lineup that Shopify Rebellion brought. Bringing a Vigil and a Scopos. Like, it's not that they do the same job, but they kind of do that. They kind of fulfill the same role. And there's maybe not enough room for both of them when you need to be looking at soaking up a bit more util, especially if things like a Ying and a Capitao are being brought. So just caught a little bit short there in terms of what was available to Shopify Rebellion. But it is only one round, so don't need to panic just as of yet, but quite a few really nice tight angles getting taken there. That second one from Skimzy onto Ambi was beautiful. You can guarantee that Ambi thought he was safe when he was tucked.
100%. And you also just got to give respect for Cruelty right there. Even in the round that they lost, not playing too slow. When they spot areas that are free, they are moving in very quickly. You think around R6 room upstairs, and then of course down below, just moving in through garage, moving in all the way up to the door of the site. And sure, the vertical angles were causing a bit of a problem, but once they hollowed out the site, started pushing in, they send that no one up above to deal with them. They certainly were considering it. Maybe there's another world where it's a bit tighter, but Cruelty doing a pretty good job so far, even in the round they lost. Showing that 7-5 game against Orglis was not an accident, but right as I say that, Ivan just assuming that Skybridge door is clear, Spoit playing that position 2 rounds in a row, and this time it nets him a kill, and that player felled is the Dokkaebi, the exact opposite player you want to lose early on.
Yeah, you kind of want the opening pick to go the other way, really, there, if you're the Dokkaebi, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to be able to hack the camera, you want to be able to get that opening for your team, but no. Sledgehammer busts open the door. There's an opportunity, a little bit of phantom pressure, as we've mentioned, but as we've already seen, Shopify are more than happy to rotate back to these angles after they aren't being watched and take advantage of them themselves. Look at Ambi right now. Getting frisky for it. Double peaks there along with Spoit. It's going to be Spoit credited with the pick. Threatens of a one-tap as well as he just challenges on, replaces the Kiba barricade. He's safe as houses right now. He's got Canadian playing above him. It'll be very difficult to unroot him from that spot.
Ooh, another trade between Ambi and Skims. You really have felt we've seen a lot of trades recently in CJX. Don't know if that's just a poor sample size, but it really feels like it's happening quite a bit. Shopify likely trading rounds with Cruelty. Might be dropping the previous one, but in a great position to land their second defense. Matumbo and Fatal trying to get into the site, and indeed they will, but anyways, because Shopify have vacated it, they're fine to let them move into first floor because they've got vertical angles, they've got positions to retake. Candela going up, Matumbo trying to get the kill here, but Spoit does exactly what you should do. Peek ahead of it, you can move around the corner and keep your eyesight perfectly intact. 3K for him. Starting out with that early kill by Skybridge, then Hashom peeking the door outside on the middle. And a Shopify to wrap things up pretty nicely for their second defensive victory. Cruelty trying to move into the map as quickly as they did before, but Shopify, I think, making a calculated adjustment, saying, hey, we had really good success when we challenged them at doorways in round 1. What if we did that again?
And they doubled down on it. They were doing it together. They were guaranteeing those picks. They got that opener and they were saying, yeah, we can double push a doorway.
Why not?
Even if they get one, we're still going to be up. Clash and Ying both removed in the second round of banning here. I guess the Clash makes a little bit of sense. We did see that played earlier inside of round 1, and it gathered a good amount of information. It's a beautiful peek there. It's a scary team when it's got Ambi and Spoit on it, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest.
Well, it's funny, too. I mean, Spoit's not even one of those players in the top 5. It's Ambi Rexon. Spoit is, to be fair, I think top 20? I think he's 15, maybe? But that's the thing, is like, if Spoit ain't even in the top 5, you've got a nasty team to worry about, especially now that he's
give it time.
Exactly. Yeah. Get him set up. Get him on an up like a zombie where he can, like you mentioned in the round, build himself a little fortress on those stairs. I mean, sure, fighting Kino on yellow stairs with a shotgun is rough, like we saw in the wildcard game, but fighting Spoit holding a power position too on a zombie? Probably neck and neck, and I couldn't decide which one I would rather deal with. Both sound pretty horrific to fight. Shopify win 2 rounds in the defense. They'll start repeating the sites, moving up to the top floor. Not a shot, Cruelty ban the Clash. Shopify did flex on it quite a bit, and as a response, Shopify take down the Ying. Still have quite a few ops in the cards for Cruelty. You still have that Blitz, you still got the Grim. Picking kind of attacking ops from all over the place, though mainly shields, but still, a lot Cruelty can use. Nothing is super constraining, all things considered.
I do feel like leaving the Azami open is a little bit of a head scratcher. Obviously, the Clash was a big pain point in round 1, but it's not something that's been consistently used. Whereas the Azami is something that you can consistently use and gain a lot of value out of. We'll have to see how that fares. A bit of pre-fire shots coming in there, and again,
literally the same run out.
It's Surf this time. It's a carbon copy. You've already died to that once. Get a bloody Claymore on it.
Literally the same run out. Not the same guy, to be fair. It was Pyrox that died last time. This time it's Skimzy, who's just the
I don't think that's an excuse.
The top frag, so not great. Hey, at least it's just Striker. You're fine with that. Smoke canister being detonated. As Matumbo will try to control the close swing with that air drop. I've been losing a lot of damage. This is literally just a carbon copy of round 1. Run out that bottom floor inside a rocket, and then Cruelty try to quickly rush Skybridge with the Blitz, and Shopify are ready for it because, again, this is just exactly what Cruelty did before. Now, to be fair, 2v3, not as bad as it could have been. The attack is mounting a decent offensive, but it was a lot more neutral as we entered the midpoint last time, and Ivan can't even get the kill off as Shopify moved to pocket reinforce off that position, force them to use a hard breach that simply does not exist anymore.
Great play from Shopify there to secure the site. It's a bold play to try and reinforce that wall, but as soon as you get partway through that animation and you're safe, Surfer's just deleted Ivan. We didn't see that shot, but you know it was an absolute clanger. Oh dear.
I think they're winning this one.
Left to telegraph their position, pushing in, and this is only going to end one way.
Yeah, it's not happening. Goodbye. 3-1. Shopify, 3 rounds of the defense, 4 for 4 on opening picks, by the way. Ambi, Surf twice, and Spoit as well. We were complimentary, or at least I was, for Cruelty's first 2 attacks. Even that first one, though it didn't work, I was like, I like the idea. Clearly Cruelty did too, because they did the exact same thing. Same repels, same early blitz push in the exact same spot. And as you can see, as opposed to before, where Cruelty were able to push in, get a kill, contest that space for a little bit, Shopify were all looking that way. Almost every single player had their guns trained there. Canadian was throwing utility out there early. Rexon even decided to challenge up Green. Why? I don't know. He didn't need to. But he did anyway. And he dealt a decisive blow for Cruelty in that round. Very, very poor adaptability from Cruelty there, thinking they can, against the only other flawless team in the league alongside DZ, think they could get away with running the exact thing back.
10 seconds left.
Just run it back.
Especially when you didn't win the first time.
They banned the clash. They banned the clash. They just decided to run it back. You know, the clash was the big pain point.
Not Ambi literally like default dancing on you.
Right downstairs we go. This was the round that we saw Ambi pick on the Scopos and Spoit the Vigil. Now, Spoit is still on the Vigil, but Ambi is instead on that Valkyrie. It should give them a little bit more information a bit earlier on into the round. They're also going to invest upstairs in a couple of mirror windows. Hatches open. So a want and need now to hold ground upstairs. You don't want to be giving those hatches away too early, hence the investment from the mirror window. And to be honest, aside from a couple of Excaros pellets, there's not much to deal with that range. So you're going to have to get Fatal in the right position and with a bit of good timing to try and destroy those. Early part of the round now, you can see the drone work going out. The top floor should be called as clear, as there are going to be no roamers that far out of sight. Instead, they are going to be occupying that mid floor, so could do worse than try and make a little bit of vert, but look at what's available. You're going to be heavily reliant on those boogie drones for that, and you may want those for the mid floor as well.
I mean, this is the exact kind of strat I think Shopify should be doing. When Cruelty, while they've made progress, they've taken whatever control is free very quickly. But when they've actually had to contest, they face a lot of struggles. So what do Shopify do on the one site they've lost? We got a mirror extended setup. Give them a little problem solve, give them a little puzzle to try to fiddle with. And what do you know? It's taking a lot longer for Cruelty to figure out. Going for a full clear instead of a direct this time, and I don't think a shot has even been fired in the direction of either team. But Tumble with a long cutoff, though. Oh, and he just gives it up as Spoit is about to cross. Unlucky timing there. But Shopify don't need to retreat. They know they've got these mirror windows intact. They know they've got these positions held. And despite Cruelty having 5 drones remaining, they don't have a lot of time to actually make good on any of that investment. Shopify can still run circles around them. Spoit, kill number 5 on the board, and what do you know? Once they get that 5v4, they know there's only 50 seconds left. Everyone falls back.
It's incredible what that's done for the clock, because now, yeah, you can still play someone upstairs. If you want, you can suicide him. But guess what? You've still got C4s, you've still got Vulcan canisters, and you've still got toxic... no toxic bay, Vulcan canisters only, to try and move through here. So it isn't going to be easy by any stretch. You've got the Valkyrie cameras as well. They could be providing a bit of info.
All right.
It will get leveled out to a 4 versus 4, but that only further telegraphs Cruelty's push right now.
Oh. Won't be able to creep up, punch that mirror window. Pyrox trying his best to bob and weave around this black mirror. Love the confidence on this, I will say. Not worried, it's only 10 seconds remaining. No, they have to move quick. Almost gets it there. But Spoit and Rexen winning all the fights presented them. Simply not enough time to put this case down. Shopify move up 4-1. Winning the one site they have dropped so far. Aside from that, it has been a flawless game.
And brilliant adaptation as well from Shopify, showing why they are and should be considered one of the top contenders here in North America. The adaptation between rounds 2 and what we've just seen, night and day. Instead of just a little loose roam, invest and give yourself some power positions right there. Force that full clear, and all of a sudden, Cruelty, the clock starts to run out, the information starts to run out because the drones get depleted, and it just further and further compounds. They didn't really bring the right lineup for the attack, and that, of course, hurt them, but their execution, it really wasn't up to snuff at all. There was a moment, I'll be honest. Pyrox gets that kill. Mutombo did end up with 2 kills as well, but again, it all just comes down to the clock, doesn't it? Because there's 2 players down at the moment, and that's when Mutombo gets the kill, so it was 1 versus 2 for Cruelty. Not impossible, but really difficult with, what, 5 seconds left on the clock? Like, you're just not going to get those kills. So, again, coming down to the clock, those fine margins, the more time you have, the better decisions you're going to be able to make. But Shopify not giving that space, not giving Cruelty that fortune of time.
Now we'll see what they try to do. Armory weapon maintenance coming out. First time we're seeing this site so far. A little Osa coming through. Try to enable a direct play. Move in through that breach once the Selmas open up those holes. Put one down, put the case behind it perhaps. I know Jesse's thrilled seeing Osa in play. Just loves those Talon shields. Big fan. We'll see Cruelty feel the same way. First opening engagement for Cruelty right there. Fatal able to find Surf, and down goes that smoke. Very happy. If you're looking to go for a plant, if you're looking to use that OSA to facilitate and execute, sure, the Echo and the Yokai drones can give you a good fight, but that's probably going to be number 1 right there, probably.
And it also buys back Cruelty a lot of time. Think about the time that those Toxic Babes can soak away from the attackers. Get rid of that nice and early, and all of a sudden you've bought yourself a little bit of time inside of that late round. Not sure if Ivan's been able to move through and hack onto the cameras as well. Obviously, with being Yokai cameras, there is a little bit of value in that. It isn't just going to be defaults. There's a BP out as well. Osa, just going to start placing those Talon shields down.
Ooh.
A chance there. The Skimsy is Rexen. Softened up a little bit. Shouldn't really be able to move from that position, although is allowed to, and can take a slightly alternate approach, but goes for the more forward peak and just gives Skimsy time to reposition himself.
Gives him time. C4 goes out. Rexen, you got to be careful. You're still on a 4v5. Canadian will find one. There goes Fatal. Peeking that breach. Echo able to find one. Rexen dueling with Skimsy. Put to 1 HP. It's a heavy risk, but he makes it work. Canadian caught lacking behind that bomb chassis. Ivan with the backstab has opened things up completely. Then get this diffuser inside of the site. Ambi and Spoit both far away from the premises. But down Spoit moves. They've got his back turned to him. I thought they might have spotted him. Do they not know? No, they don't. Pyrox looking the other way. It's still a 2v2, but no Dokkaebi calls. Nothing to give a signal to where these players might be. Ambi does spot the Talon shield. There's no impacts, no explosives to speak of to destroy it. But they're trying to find this one player, trying to find Ivan with that DMR exposed, able to tag him up quite heavily. Mutombo too, worse for wear. But there's nothing Shopify can do to find this until they cut down Ivan. Mutombo can pre-fire. He's got that shield, the pre-fire behind, a 1v1 now. Can Ambi bait it? He can see the leg! He just pulls back in time! Oh, what a brutal misplay for Cruelty. A little too far to the left. And a 1v1 that maybe could have gone your way. Just doesn't work out.
I think Ambi should be counting his lucky stars there that he was able to clutch that up, because there's no way that they should be losing that as a 2 versus 1. As soon as Spoit commits, I'm expecting to see Ambi just fly in out of nowhere with the trade. And it just didn't happen. And I'm like, oh no, this could be bad. But fortunately, They were able to seal the deal. And Shopify come out of that first phase 5-1 up, making very short work of Cruelty and really punishing them on Lair here tonight. Cruelty now switch over to the defense. We are in our second round of bans for the evening. Got a Monty and a Blitz taken away, along with double electrification again. So no real changes in the bans. This is going to be the same playing field that both of these two teams start off on.
15 seconds.
5-1 for Shopify, though. As the desk mentioned, Cruelty actually, the defense is by far and away their worst side. They were able to get 3 attacking rounds on Cafe against SSG. Then, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, 4 against Orgulus on this map. Wasn't able to get the victory, sadly, as it was a 5-1 half initially from Orgulus. So, 7-5 loss for Cruelty.
Attackers have discovered the
But 2 of the
location
maps they
a bomb.
played so far have had very, very good attacking sides. And now, barely any success. Running back strats, getting caught on, to be fair, good strategies from Shopify. So it's not an unexpected result. I think a lot of us expected Shopify to take that lead, especially on what's typically the favored side on Lair. But now we get to the real problems. Not only with Cruelty having a bad history on this map, but Ollie, the attacks from Shopify, they've just looked incredible this entire stage. They, Dark Zero and SSG, all about have the same attacking win rate, about 60%, but I think qualitatively, just Dark Zero and Shopify have had some of the best put together executes by far and away.
Yeah, it's devastating attacking win percentage, isn't it? Especially when you look at who they've played so far. 63% right now. Interestingly, only 11% plants, so it's not that they're a very plant-focused team when it comes down to these attacks. But you don't always have to be. And you can often be quite focused on just getting the job done, and if you've got that man-count advantage, oftentimes the diffuser's just going down anyway, and a kill will come through before it is confirmed. A lot of value being found out of that first Flora's drone there. Got a Banshee, barbed wire, and a Vulcan canister. Seems like a fairly good trade to me.
I'd make that deal. I want to say this, by the way. I don't know why everyone's running Ying shotgun. Like, I get it. It's a quicker for a close quarters engagement, but, like, the amount of times I see somebody swing and they're trying to hit a guy at 20 meters range with that shotgun. I have literally seen it happen to Troy on bank. So, like, not a bad decision. I'm just a little skeptical of it, I will say. But that's just my opinion.
Are you a 6-12 hater?
Well, a bit of a 6-12 hater. I will say he is at the door to the site right now. So if there was ever a time for the shotgun to work, it would be right now when the defense is literally just around the corner, it feels like. Half a round gone. Matumbo losing a little bit of HP, but Shopify now just focusing on the util clear on site. You got those Rotero drones from Ambi, the shock drones from Surf. Really good lineup to deal with a lot of these static utilities placed inside of the site, especially those Vulcan packs. Candela will go out, debate a little bit of a reposition, maybe give Ambi something to find, but there's only 2 people down below, and Surf's just found one of them. That Goyo is the only other one here. All those Candelas might be gone, but Fatal's certainly still around. Able to take that 1v1, but now he's got to focus on the rest of the defense. As Cruelty, they come running back to the site once they realize Shopify have just taken it right from under their nose. Diffuser goes down with barely any fanfare whatsoever. 3v2, make that a 3v1 as Shopify, after spending half the round clearing utility, realized that there's only 2 people down here, and we can just walk in and fight them.
The danger of a roam is that if you're not willing or you don't have an avenue back to site nice and quick, sometimes the attacking team's just going to just push site, just hit it direct, take ground. Ambi had a horrible angle there. He's got a defender angle, basically. He's stuck inside the box looking at the back stairs. That's all you need. Exceptionally well played from Shopify. Really Shopify. Excuse me. Really trusting in the calls and trusting in the process. 6-1.
Not the first one to do that.
No, I believe so. I don't
Parker
think I'll
did
be
it
the
day
last.
You an Apple Music guy?
Discovered the location of a bomb.
No, not really.
All right. I know, like, I know Apple Music is objectively a better platform, but like, some people that use Apple Music, they just can't. It's like they need you to know that they use Apple Music. It's like, I don't care. Like, I'm happy for you. Like, good work. Like clap. But like, I know some people that's like, oh yeah, It's so much better. I'm like, shut up. I don't care. Anyway.
What was the one that had the good quality back in the day and everyone was like, oh, the quality is just so good?
I believe it'd be Napster.
No, come on. there was one and it was like, if you were someone who was someone, you went for these guys are really good quality.
I don't know. I was probably like 4, so.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Oh, fatal. Can't be doing that on a zombie of all ops. Gonna make sure you get those Kibas generating. That long-term, dollar-cost Kiba investing. Gotta make sure you have that utility. He'll back off pretty quickly after losing that damage. Often we will see teams contest this position early. Didn't see it a lot from Shopify because the attack was coming from the opposite side, but clearly Cruelty aware of it here, and Shopify mounting quite an offensive outside of the opposite side of the map. But it was a slow affair last time. I think you'd agree, Ollie, from Shopify, just gathering a lot of intel, and they made good use of it, but big shock with a big map. Shopify not trying to skip any steps.
Yeah, they are going to be very disciplined here. Not only is it a chance to get full 3 points, but a hell of a round advantage as well if it does come down to that. We do end up with a quite tight leaderboard at the top. Even able to use this Kiba barricade now that was previously helping the defenders inside of Ops, and now it's just another angle for Spoit to exploit. We do have the Vulcan canister dissipating. Valk on the target from the Deimos. You just feel like the net is slowly tightening around these Cruelty players.
Would you say he exploited that angle?
You could say that.
You could. You know what else you could do? Ooh, die in that 1v1. I thought Ambi might pick...
Oh, dear.
I thought Ambi might have the better one there, but Ivan feeling freaky with that MPX and that Deagle. Oh, make it 3? That's ludicrous from the Valkyrie right there. Every single bit of his kit, primary, secondary, and C4, all acquiring kills, and Shopify, who have been playing quite a disciplined attack so far, have ended up walking right into the waiting arms of Ivan, who is feeling quite eager to narrow this scoreline and fight for OT.
He did an Ambi, but he did it better.
He actually did do a better Ambi.
He did,
Straight up.
He did an Ambi +1.
Oh, okay, a little whiffage there. That's fine.
Okay, he's overheated slightly. This round is only destined for one result. Surf dodges out of the Toxic Babe canister. He doesn't have the kit. It was Rexon that picked the kit up, and he has since been taken out. 8 seconds left. Is anybody going to go and try and clean up the final kill? Add
Troll
their
time.
stats, potentially? And there's people outside at this point, for goodness sake. Everyone's softened up, but no one going to fall. Time going to do the rest there for Cruelty. A much-needed round.
That's crazy from Matumbo at the end.
Just being outside.
Skybridge run out in the 5v1. He's crazy for that. Have Cruelty taken a tactical timeout?
I don't believe so.
I just realized, I don't think they have. That is actually something our AP Devin mentioned. He's like, hey, wow, I'm the GOAT.
Sometimes you just get a little tingle, you know?
Sometimes you just, listen, some people have it, some people don't.
You get that little itch in your brain, just
yeah,
like,
exactly.
This seems like a really good time for something that we usually have, but I can't put my finger on what it is.
I call that ESP. I've got a little prescience, a little foresight in me. Not foresight. A lot of people have foresight. I guess prophecy would be the word I'd use. I mean, like, that was a good round for Cruelty, obviously, but it was mainly a good round from Ivan. He was given a 1v1 that he won. Then he smoked the second guy coming up the hall. And then a pre-play C4. He just detonated off the intel gathered, and 5v2. It's probably not going to happen every time, as generally speaking, when Ivan has not popped off, Cruelty have not disrupted Shopify's plan all that much. They had this big roam in round 7, and then Shopify didn't clear it. They just flooded the site, and Cruelty were far too late in retreating to actually contest it. And then in that round, Shopify were still getting set up, still playing it slow, and the only person who actually ended up disrupting it was Ivan. So you'd hope to see maybe a little bit more contention. Maybe Azami tries to hold that a little bit early on, doesn't go back and forth as often as she did, but to be honest with you, it is kind of hard to figure out when Shopify were genuinely just standing still for like a minute and a half, and then when they tried to walk in, one guy just decided that the round was over. It's like, all right, don't know what to do now.
10 seconds.
Yes, we go again.
Yeah, I think as Shopify, you just kind of brush that one off and just go, yeah, someone's hit a live shot and done very well to win the round. And these things happen.
Ambi's
I
probably
don't think
better
it's
now.
going to rock their boat too much.
Ambi's probably pretty annoyed he got upstaged with that C4.
Yeah, I think it was the C4 and it was the Deagle shot as well, to be honest with you.
Oh, true, yeah. I
It just
forgot about
added
the
like
Deagle,
that
too.
little element of flair. It was the fact it was the Deagle against the Deimos as well.
Yeah, that's true. It was like a little like pistol 1v1. It's like reload all over again. You didn't have to use pistols there, but you know. Yeah, there were 1v1s there.
It would have been cool though. It would
That'd
have been
be
cool
cool.
if you'd done some sort of like one in the chamber thing with the bullets.
What if they had actually, for the 1v1s, what if they literally did it where like you were in a room, like a hallway, and then you walked away and you had to 180 like flick around with the pistol to kill them?
Like
That'd be kinda
Western
cool.
style.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, there's only like a few revolvers. You wouldn't have to use only revolvers, but you know, that'd be pretty cool. Did that drone just get gone sixth? All right.
I'm swapping mags.
I haven't taken a very aggressive peek. He's got the mirror window play behind, though. I was about to say. You don't need to do that. It's a bit extra, but you've got this position right here. Try to contest. Try to fire some shots around. Deny anybody pushing up through second floor rocket as long as you can. Spoit giving a little teaser that he's there. But as the Dokkaebi call goes out, just doing what Dokkaebi does best. SMG-12 in hand, creeping up a staircase. He's got a very clean cutoff. Not only to catch anybody coming back from the roam, but even if anybody tries to support.
I think the position is very good at the moment from Shopify. Rexon, he's starting to commit
Ooh.
himself a little bit. Spoit actually falls there.
Nice
Fatal.
find.
There's no flyers on him. He is ready to go. Clash is going to be difficult to deal with. Obviously, utility's great. Man count's even better if you can surround it or get a pinch off. Right now, there's not really too much. They need to ideally get Canadian rotated round to try and use some of that utility and disrupt things, but good opener that hasn't been answered by Shopify. Doesn't spell the best end to this round. There is 50 seconds left. There is still good opportunity right now, but I just feel like they're playing a little bit too static.
I do feel that too. And man, you really wish you had a Monty here. I mean, with those openings on the left side, you could just walk into the site, but especially now that Clash has rotated back in, Canadians praying this Firebolt does the damage it did to Matumbo earlier. Surf might have an opening though. Creeping forward, face checking, not a lot of intel. Might have the backstab to close out this game for Shopify. You're looking the other way, he finds one, but not the second. Massive reaction from Fatal. Finding both Spoit and Surf going for the backstab on the bottom of Skybridge Stairs. A third. Cruelty running away with their second defense. Really impressive stuff from Fatal there. And hey, if we just want to keep running down the line, squeezing out 3Ks from every player on the lineup, potentially another 3 could go Cruelty's way if they keep this up.
It's a clip farm at this point, isn't it?
Spoit was
Cruelty
trying to.
is-
He just got
Yeah,
shot.
they are just farming clips right now. And why not? Clash removed, Brava taken away as well. Shopify do have a chance now. With that Clash being taken out, it is going to free things up a little bit. Something that's we've definitely noticed since the introduction of the new ban system here in CJX is that the games do play out very differently after that second round of banning, because things that were powerful, things that were in some ways crutched on a little bit, just get taken away, whipped from underneath you, and you have to come up with better ideas, and it really forces teams to be better. We'll have to see how Cruelty navigate that now. They've seen some good success on the Clash. Brava, I think it's maybe a little bit less impactful,
Yeah, it was just
especially
that
if you look
last
at what's
round.
being brought right now.
5
There's
seconds left.
2 things that you're going to be looking at.
Yeah. It was just that last round the Bravo was brought, but otherwise you've had Dokkaebi and Deimos, some combination of the two. Every single round from Shopify. Those tools still in hand. I mean, if you assume the Clash are going to get banned, you want to bring out the Echo, I can see why you ban the Bravo at that point. You want to keep those Yokais intact. But you are right, there's still a lot of very powerful tools left in the cards for Shopify. A team that, to be fair, Canadian loves playing shields, but Kind of like when you have spirits on DZ, if you have somebody that loves playing shields, you kind of know the shields are going to get banned, like probably 2 at least. So you practice other strats that don't use them because you know odds are your options are going to be limited. So I don't think this setup is all that crazy that Shopify are playing against. I don't think the Brava is going to trip them up, or the lack of the Brava is going to trip them up all that much. What is tripping them up, though, are these opening engagements. Ever since round 7, Ivan and Fatal, especially Fatal that last round, really good situational awareness from Cruelty, keeping an eye on the backstab, as that was Shopify's attempt to solve for their previous problem in round 8 of poor time management or not gaining enough control. With Cruelty keeping an eye on that backstab, Shopify have got to be careful and have got to go back to the drawing board to actually fix the route execute and route clear itself instead of trying to accelerate it with some kind of flank.
Shopify not looking good drone economy right now. They're just going to lose another. Leaves them with 4. I'm not even sure if Surf's got anything to track as of yet either. He surely must have something at this point in the round. As we're entering that halfway point, see players are frantically scanning drones, and then Lucy has been targeted, but that's it.
He's got 3.
Of other things. Oh, he's got a couple more. A few more have come online for him there, so there is a little bit of potential. Maybe you can combine that with Rexon on the sledge and get some good vert into some of those positions, but instead it's going to be Ambi and Surf to kick things off.
All right, I suppose. Ambi Surf just going for a bit of a solo clear on the second floor. Pyrox able to swing around and find one. Still advantage Shopify, to be sure. Damos Tracker spotting that sentry. Now spotting Fatal, actually, excuse me. Just around the corner, but not a lot Surf can really do there. Very, very difficult position to take as the attacker. You gotta hope you catch that defender off guard, and the Legion obviously, the sentry very, very aware. Shopify not going back to vertical destruction. They had an opening, Ollie. They had a very, very brief opening. But not only are they struggling to push forward, Fatal actually decided to get aggressive. Really risky play, but he's not punished for it. Intel lacking. Pyrox around that corner again, swinging around constantly, peppering shots into these Shopify attackers, and now they find themselves in the disadvantage. Rexon's been sledging upstairs for like 2 minutes now, and what's he gonna get for it? The rest of the attack has died. Him and Ambi are stuck inside of one room. Diffuser in possession of the defense. 3 rounds in a row for Cruelty, and now we've actually got a game on our hands.
This is not the script that we were expecting for this fixture. But Cruelty, against the odds, really. They're clawing these rounds back one at a time. I think that you can credit that previous round entirely to Cruelty as well. And it's no real surprise to see timeout coming in for the Rebellion right now. Things really not going their way, and there's some gunfights, I'll be honest, that they should be winning. And they are just getting absolutely flattened. Seems like Cruelty have really come online. The confidence is obviously brimming for them now as well.
It's the confidence, it feels like. I mean, how many times have we seen Pyrox like peek around that corner, rapid fire down below, getting in their face? I mean, the confidence on Fatal, I don't think he should have made this play. The confidence on Fatal, on Malusi, to take that angle against Surf right in front of him. Surf had a shotgun. Malusi was like 2 meters away from him. If Surf is either expecting that or is quicker on the trigger, that Malusi is just like gone, just evaporated, vanished, with how close quarters that engagement was. But it's still the confidence to take that. Maybe misplaced. Maybe you shouldn't do that, but the fact that they still felt they could get away with it in the first place, despite losing 2 players on the roam, is really impressive from Cruelty. They are not feeling the pressure in this matchup, and one more round will put them at the same scoreline they were against Orglis yesterday, and where they failed to make the comeback there, it's them with the momentum now. They have forced Shopify to take their tactical timeout after winning 3 defenses in a row. Really impressive stuff.
Seeing a full 6-pick from Shopify right now.
10 seconds remaining.
Maybe they didn't anticipate this site and instead of opted to change things up because of that. A little bit of focus on that flank watch with the gridlock. We've got Canadian with that utility on the Capitao. Bees and Alliance, they really want to find out where people are and keep them there. I do like this from Ivan, though. Passage to the building isn't given for free, and he's just going to let him know. Little spawn peek here, little check of a window there. It just causes these players to spend a little bit more time. Canadian, it's on his mind. Is he going to get run out of the door? Is it going to happen, you know, from the window? Just keeps you guessing. That phantom pressure possible to give on the defense as well. It does look quite direct for the time being.
Quite direct indeed. Very easy to open up that wall too. Obviously, Cade and Bandit both taken off the board, so just the Mute Jammer, one secondary EMP, bam, walls open. Minimal investment from Shopify to get that figured out. Very traditional lineup from Shopify right now. Lion coming into play, first time we've seen this attacking side. You obviously got the Grim and the Cavitab, but it really feels like a very standard execute. If you're going to try to go for that diffuse plant, try to put that kit down inside one of the breaches. Apply some pressure to the second floor, deny those vertical angles, especially with a Solus on the board. That'll be very important, and what Shopify are setting up for right now. But Mutombo looking to throw a wrench in things. Holding this Z position, holding this hallway with a shotgun can be really tricky to deal with. But with how far back he's pushed, Rexon will clear close. Instead, Shopify continuing to try to open up angles on the site.
Isothermic is going to need an EMP, and it is thrown there by Canadian. Another wall will be opened. Now call for a bit of utility. Can try and flame out, couple that in with an aid into the cross. Beautiful stuff there from Shopify. That's the coordination that we're expecting to see from this side. Two pieces of utility and a player ready to catch. That surely should open up the round for them. Bit of info now can be gathered as we enter this final minute. The only worry potentially is there's still a little bit of vertical that's available for the defenders to take advantage of. So they need to find a pocket in which to plant. The Solus upstairs as well could very easily play spoiler. C4 from Fatal, if he's able to get it through the bars, could be dreadful. A lot comes on to Wrexham right now.
Shotgun right around the corner, and I was going to say, Canadian's going to need to smoke off these vertical angles, and now with Wrexham gone, that's the only way they can get this diffuser down. The coverage has to be perfect. And Skimzy, he's got to be out of position. That Specchio's got to miss, and there's not even a reaction. If he's triggered it, it's not gone to any bit of use. Post plant activated, Spoit on for the double, and Skimzy has found the diffuser, but it is well too late to make any impact off of that information. Shopify pulled back. Ooh, Ambi smoked on that upside down rappel, but a nice clean trade. Mutombo can pick him back up, but Canadian creeps around the corner. A little bit too late, will firebolt it off. Very lucky you still have that utility. Will force them either to vault over or drop down the hatch. But this is the round we needed from Shopify. A clean execute. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Diffuser down. W in the column. 7-4 victory. And our other second team in NA that remains flawless will join Dark Zero without having a single loss at the end of Playday 4.
I'm really glad that we saw Shopify Rebellion there just pull out a very straightforward strategy, but execute it very well. It's very easy to say that they just need to open some walls and they just need to get in and try and get a plant down, but in the execution of it, it was done quite elegantly. They were able to isolate players. We saw a good amount of, information being gathered. They recognized the amount of people on that top floor, and they were able to act accordingly. Nice little combination there with the Thatcher Thermite, and a nice, easy result in the end. We're going to cut to a break. For that, we'll be back with the desk. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I got it. Fire it off. They're gonna have to drop her vault. No time.
Yeah, both dropped.
One more in gym. Last gym.
He's near green door. Good job.
Ship.
I played.
GG's, guys.
Wow, they were so happy with that win, so excited. It was so clean, so quick, so consistent, so incredible. No, what was that?
I think that's a reasonable response after you win that game. I mean, you go up 6-1. You could have closed it out. Granted, Ivan actually had a really good 3K in that round that I think kind of definitely gave everyone else a little bit of life on Cruelty. But when you're SR and we see them win that, I mean, we've been in those situations. Those are games you just should win outright. You shouldn't have to get down to the wire to close it out. So if I'm SR, I'm definitely not too satisfied with that result, regardless of getting the 3 points.
Yeah, you can't be thrilled, obviously, getting a 6-1 lead, having a 5-1 half. You don't really get to show too much of your attacks, which is arguably the harder side. You'd be able to have something to work with, to get better at. I mean, it looked like once they got to that 6-1, they maybe let their foot off the gas. Don't want to show a little bit too much. And obviously, I mean, hey, shout out to Cruelty. They did not give up. They kept going, and honestly, there was some good light in some of those rounds, especially their defenses and how they were playing together. But I mean, that last round specifically, it looked very disjointed. And at the end, 3 people dropping from a hatch one at a time to try and fight and trade. I believe it was Ambi. It's like, at that point, like, you were so good up until this round, like, just keep working together. I don't know where the thought process just is abandoned once the diffuser goes down. They could have just stayed on track. Who knows? Maybe the retake would have happened.
You live and you learn. That's something that we were looking to see from Cruelty, but the Blacklight detail specifically for this game is going to be heading over to Spoit. Finally, he is making it into one of these highlights because it's just been everybody on Shopify doing well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to pick one player from Shopify that's going to stand out above everyone else. Obviously, it's a game-to-game. It really usually has been Rexon, though, on that back end. It's nice that Spoit finally, since joining the team, he's going to get his own flowers in respect, and he played great. I mean, when it comes down to a game of who's going to be 1v1ing, who's going to be the better in those brawl situations, I mean, Spoit arguably is the 1v1 king. He always does those jinxy 1v1s. Arguably is always winning them. So if it's just going to be a bloodbath, I'd expect Spoit to always be the player to come up top.
And we have Rexon for the interview. He wasn't on the highlight this time around, but still a really good performance individually and a good performance from the side of Shopify. So first off, obviously, congratulations for another 3-pointer added to the amount of points that you guys have. The comms at the end, you guys didn't seem too happy, too ecstatic with how it went. You kind of had a big lead and ended up going down to the wire. How do you deal with that as a team?
I mean, as Lax and Fox said, we are kind of expected to win that game. So, I mean, going into it, it's like, we're not the underdogs, we're the favorites. But also, we don't want to choke our points or maybe even down to round count. I don't know if that's going to affect us as much, maybe with DZ, but I mean, as I said, we are expected to win the game. We are the favorites, and it does suck, giving them 3 more rounds, but we still got a 3 point, so it's nothing to be upset about. And, there's not really much reaction as opposed to beating an expected, our rivals like DZ or somebody like that, like a harder game.
Yeah, a win is a win at the end of the day. But as for you, I mean, you've been winning the whole stage, Rexon. Just maybe talk to us what it's like to be on this roster. You're on supportive flex roles. Is there a lot less pressure because when you're put in a position where you have to show up, everything's kind of already been set up and you just need to make sure that you're just shooting better than everyone that's left up in the server? Or what's like that situation feel like when you're put in these constant clutch situations or situations where you have to just close out a round?
I actually, with this new role swap, so I mean, I've had brief stints on certain roles, but I've played pretty much every role in the game now. And I will say I like this one the most. As with the pressure or when I get put in these hard scenarios or instantly the nitty gritty, if I'm in a dead spot or whatever it may be, not really feel much pressure at all because again, all my teammates are phenomenal and we have pretty good chemistry, I'd say, and we're building on the team play. We've been a team for a very short time, but no, I don't feel any extra pressure. I actually really do like this role a lot. I like being able to play with multiple different operators in different areas. So no extra pressure, and again, I like doing what I do. So.
Well, you're definitely thriving. I think the stats speak for itself on your end. And I want to kind of ask you, we've heard Troy at the end of comms saying, believe in one another, trust in the calls. Is that kind of still the issue that's lingering with you guys? Granted, you guys are finding success, you're winning your games, but is it kind of that mid to late round on those attacks where you guys seem to be struggling the most? And would you agree that that's kind of an area that is really hindering your guys' overall performance?
I'd say, yeah. So our initials obviously are pretty good. Attack, usually we're phenomenal on. Defense is typically where we've been finding less success, but still winning. Seth, our coach, has been hammering down on it, about our mid rounds and transitioning into the later round for the execute, and that is something that obviously, as you've seen through our matches, is not as strong as our initials are clears. So that's something we're working on every day. And again, like we get better with it. Every day we practice and whatnot. So it's something that we'll hammer out, and then come playoffs, we should be a lot better by then. But again, like a work in progress.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to see how you guys are going to be making those improvements. Thank you again for your time for the interview, and congrats on another successful week from your end of things. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye.
See you guys later.
All right. That was a great one from SR. Points on the board, moving up in the standings. Cruelty still going to be sitting on 0, an unfortunate one for them. But Element is something a little bit more positive and fun to talk about. Reminder, today is the 20th, actually. I remember the date now. So it is actually qualifiers. Make sure you are playing or tuning in or whatever that might be. As for our retired, would you guys call yourself washed up or just retired?
I would just say
Depends if you want to be
retired.
disrespectful towards us, if you want to
Is
call us
washed up
washed. I
disrespectful?
don't think we've ever washed in our career, to be completely honest
But
with
like,
you.
then why did you get dropped if you weren't?
Well, I still competed after me getting dropped, so pretty irrelevant. But besides that,
Anyways.
Element, I mean, that again, there's a lot of players currently that have competed throughout Element. They got their notice in there. They got their competitive experience, a lot of play through and through. I mean, it's just a great playground to be able to join in, be able to understand what competitive feels like. And again, if you can find 5 friends, maybe pick up a few people from Twitch chat even, form a team, compete
more
now,
competitive.
play in a qualifier. I mean, Element is the place to be and the place that you want to find yourself.
Yeah,
Aw.
and honestly, you never know at this rate. Sometimes if you're sitting there and you're watching Cruelty play and you're like, I could do that, you could
You
try.
probably can.
You could probably go through Element and maybe take their spot eventually and do it yourself and see how you guys would fare. But you need some teammates, you need to run some elements and be able to improve to get to that point. So try it out.
And if you don't want to try that, you just want to stick around and watch some games, we have OXG going up against Orgless, another team that has kind of like been through the thick of it in Tier 2 and is now here in Tier 1. Orgless, that is, not OXG, regardless of their performance. So make sure that you stick around to see how these two teams fare up against each other, because OXG against Orgless coming up after the break.